what is it? Good afternoon. Hi, Brita. Good to see you.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Really good. Super excited
Good.
to be talking to you, Jules.
Yes, me too. Me too. Happy Monday.
Yes.
It's a good sort of intentional, energetic way to start the week, right? So,
Right.
yes, good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. So, let's just dive right in. I said my dog's joined. I realize you can't see her, so it probably looks like I'm being. She's gone. She's left us now. She's not interested, so she might be back later. Anyways, as I said, I'm the CEO and founder of Global Girl Project, which is an international feminist NGO that is reinventing, I think, the way that development is done throughout the majority world, working from a feminist perspective. And we're going to talk about that today with the fabulous Brita, who you will see the bio. I'm not going to go through a bio, but we've known each other.
Please
I
don't.
know. I
Exactly.
hate those so much, right? I'll do my own version of it, which is I've known Brita for a number of years. So I've said we met in another lifetime doing other things, and I heard you speak many years ago, and then started working with Brita as a coach. If you're looking for a coach, definitely hit her up. I think she's a perfect mix of of the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual, and the professional, which is how I work, and I think how more of us need to work, really, right? So and also comes with a plethora of experience working internationally, working within feminist spaces, as a trustee, as the ED of Women International UK, and so no surprise that we feel connected to each other, and enjoy chatting about things that I think we both feel matter very deeply, right? So
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Jules. And I have, have loved working with you and getting to know your work through the coaching relationship and understanding more about the intention behind Global Girl. And I think we both just said, oh yeah, let's have a chat. Let's talk about some things that really matter to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know matter to other people, and so so this is Women's History Month. If you don't know, we recently celebrated International Women's Day. We're also doing a campaign for the month of March as a fundraiser, and you'll sort of see information in the chat of the volunteer who's graciously jumped in to support, because our one of our staff members is sick today, so somebody will be sort of sharing stuff in the chat about that. But let's get down to business. So, essentially what we're here to talk about is, how do you lead an organization from a feminist perspective? What does that mean in the first place? What we're going to talk about. But really what I think, we're both very interested in is, how do you grow an organization from that same perspective, and what does that mean? And that'll have different meanings to different people, but certainly it's a question that we've been discussing at Global Girl, and then in our discussions together, we've been talking about, like, what does growth mean? And I think we're going to spend a little bit of time redefining growth. There's one of our girls, hello, joining. We spend our days redefining leadership with our girls, right? That's a lot of the work we do, is like, let's actually pick at what does it mean to be a leader, actually. And so now let's spend some time redefining growth, because I think growth as we understand it comes from, I think, often quite a capitalistic, patriarchal point of view. So how do we define growth, right? So my first question for you, so I'm not chatting forever. Hi, Kalini. It's very distracting, this thing coming up and down on but happy for people to join. So the first question, right, is let's start from the beginning. How Global Girl Project defines ourselves as a feminist organization. We've talked about this repeatedly, but how would you define a feminist organization? Like, what does that mean? Like, how do you work as a feminist organization? What are the principles and values that one might hold if they were to call themselves a feminist organization, because I think, you know, again, that might mean different things to different people. So I'm interested to hear what you think while I sit by the fire and drink my tea.
Well, yes, yes, yes. And
I'm
you know
actually
what?
by a fire.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first of all, hello. There are a few wonderful
Yeah.
women like Mira, who I know. So nice to see you. So do you know what? So I was thinking about it this morning as I knew I was going to chat to you, and I thought, actually, for me, it's a practice.
Mm.
And so I'm also curious what I will say today about
Yeah.
what it takes to lead in a feminist way,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I think that actually is the essence of it,
Yeah.
that I don't put anything into the box and label it feminist, because then it in its own right already it becomes very much the kind of, this is
Yeah.
feminist and this
Yeah.
isn't. You're not a good feminist. I'm a good feminist. And then we're actually using, right? We're
Which is
using a
not
very
feminist, really, is
we,
it? Yeah.
well, it's not for me
Yeah, not for
exactly.
me.
So that's
Exactly.
my first thing, right? That
Yeah.
it's like, don't put it in a box,
Yeah.
don't put a label, don't think, you know, one thing is right and the other
Yeah.
isn't. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
tell me how you live it. You know,
Yeah.
how does it live in you, and
Yeah.
how do you live it out there in the world? And
Yeah.
for that to be an active practice, right? So that even as an organization,
Yeah.
right, we might have a conversation. Okay, these are our values, this is how we want to be in the world, and then maybe we write them down, right, and we put them on our website, and that's really great. But that doesn't stop there. It's like, oh, you know, we've defined it, we've put it, and now we're just going to go on with our work. No, it's like an active revisiting again and again, particularly when it's an organization working with women and girls, you know, in other countries,
Yeah.
where we're accessing information all the time about their lives, about how the patriarchy is impacting them, and how also feminism as it is lived by different people is impacting them. So for
Yeah.
this to be a very dynamic process. So this is
Absolutely.
how I believe I live feminism, as a dynamic
Yeah.
process of deep reflection,
Yeah.
and particularly reflecting on power.
Yes.
You know, what do I believe about power?
Yeah.
How does power live in me? How
Yeah.
do I experience power in the world? You
Yeah.
know, how do I therefore express power in the world?
Yeah.
How is that
Absolutely.
impacting others?
Yeah.
And some of it I can see, and some of it I cannot see. So how do I find allies and you know, people who can help me see what I don't see,
Yeah.
so that I don't inadvertently, you know, misuse my power, because we all have power inherently, and then we get power because of the play, like, you know, the skin maybe that we have, or the place that we were born in, or
Yeah.
the position that we hold in an organization. So yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, thank you, Britta. I definitely resonate with both those main points. I think that first piece around, you know, you said it's a practice. So for me, that is something that is active, right? It doesn't just, as you said, sort of get placed and then we don't sort of come back to it. We don't constantly question. And so that is definitely for us at Global Girl, is like, we need to constantly question and invite people to
Mhm.
question us, invite the conversation. You know, we work in partnership, as many of you will know, and many organizations work in partnership, but for us, like, what that means is that our partnerships are very much 50-50. You know, we want to have the healthiest relationship with our partners, and so we want to constantly invite opportunities to question, you know, are we working in a way that works for you? What needs to change? What do we need to amplify? You know, and that's really that piece of it being an active practice. It definitely resonates with me, and it's not easy, right? Because life gets busy, and
Right.
it gets and of course it gets busy for everybody. But I think that's the piece, because you can get busy in doing something that's not necessarily in alignment with where you originally started, if you're not constantly
Right.
coming in and questioning.
Right. Right.
um, and then I think the other piece, you were talking about power, and we spend a lot of time talking about power with, you know, within our programming, and because we're not a headquartered organization, as you know. We're not based in the global north. I'm in the global north, but that is about it. but we do recognize sort of what power an international organization may be perceived to come with, you know. And I mean, we just had a meeting this morning with our partners in Haiti, because, you know, many of you hopefully know what is happening in Haiti right now, has been happening for a long time, but certainly is coming to a head right now. And, you know, we had a long discussion with our partners around what do they feel needs to happen, you know, and not, you know, what we want to happen, but we are here to support you and what you feel needs to happen with our program. And it's a joint program that we've been running with them for, I don't even know, 6, 7 years at this point. So, you know, and that's kind of wanting to share the power in a position with partners who may kind of feel in a lot of ways quite powerless, you know, in terms of what's happening. And so, yeah, I like that sort of that constant questioning and redefining of you know, of power, from a positive perspective too. You know, I think we speak a lot with our girls of, you know, trying to redefine power, that power doesn't have to be something that's negative. Power doesn't have to be power over.
I mean, this is one of the things that I sorry to intercept, because this is such an important point. So in fact, I just saw Tina joined. I've developed a program called Step Into Your Power.
Right.
And one of the first things that we do when kind of women join the course is we actually talk about, what do I believe about power? And the majority of us, like, power is bad. That's what we believe. And that's obviously because of what we see, how power is exercised in the world. But then when we reflect on it and we feel into it, is no, power is energy. Power is power. It's just, it is, you know, it's neither good nor bad. It's like what you do with your power. That defines the, you know, the impact. And I think that's beautiful. And I think it's beautiful that, you know, that's what Global Girl Project does through the leadership training that you provide, right, for girls around the world. But it's also what you do as an organization implementing or facilitating this, and I think, and I love that, and you know, and yes, that's sticky and that's not easy because we all experience it differently, and also that changes. You know, I mean, right now in my life, I feel more powerful than I ever have, and you know, and I celebrate this, and I still have moments, obviously, where I feel powerless, and this can coexist. You know, I can feel powerless and I can feel powerful. And this is what I also feel when I feel into the organization in Haiti. I can totally understand. There is a sense of huge powerlessness, which is how I feel about a lot of conflicts in the world right now, a huge sense of powerlessness. And then through my reflective practice, I can connect again with my power and the fact that even just my thought processes, even my reflective practice, there is power in that. And I want to believe that, you know, that I can create change through my own agency. And that will be the same for organizations, right?
I agree. I mean, I think in the conversation, you know, that we have with our partners in Haiti, you know, there obviously is an enormous sense of powerlessness, right? But the one piece that they have power over, because we were talking about, like, is it safe to continue right now? And you know, the last thing we want is for any of our girls or our partners to be, you know, put at risk by attending our programming. And the power that I could hear and I could feel from them was that we are making a decision every day to continue. This is the one piece that we can do. The girls can't go to school, right? The girls can't go to school right now. It's not that the schools are closed, right? Everything is closed. And the one thing that they've got right now is to attend Global Girl Project. And the power that that organization and the women who are running that organization, the girls that are making there's my cousin, hi Cheryl, and that our partners, you know, their parents are making every day to say, you know, we can't control what is happening in Haiti right now, but what we can control is whether our daughter can either choose to join online or go out of the house, and we take her there. And that is the power that we have right now. And we will do anything we can to continue to support that access to their own power.
And I think that's super exciting. And I think this is also like taking it back to feminism, right? And how we live feminism. I think this is like the reason why I want to talk about feminism and use the word feminist, even though it's, widely, obviously, used and abused, is because it's powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's actually, it's saying there is a different way to be, and particularly for, human beings in female bodies who've been, conditioned to not believe in their power and not to make themselves heard and seen. It's to say I'm a feminist, and here is what this means. Here is how I live my feminism. Oh, there is a lot of energy there, right? There's a lot of power in that.
Absolutely. And what we have decided that means for us, as opposed to what
exactly
society has decided. So to kind of where I knew we were going to go over, because we could talk about this forever, but bear with us, please. So like to take that piece, right, where we've defined for us what that means to sort of to work from a feminist space, both personally and in terms of business. But we talked about how to do things differently. And so there's this piece for us at Global Girl where we know we need to grow. We know we want to grow. And we're also, as a feminist organization, questioning, what does that mean? What does growth mean?
Right.
And so that's why I'm also really interested in redefining growth. Right. And I think we all know that growth from sort of a capitalist perspective is bigger, is better, is more, is faster, is more, right? We need more. More. We need to work in 100 countries, and we need to, all this, and very much I can say at Global Girl, we do not. That's not how we would define growth, but we are in that process right now. It's like, where do we want to go with it? And so I'm interested to hear from you, as somebody who has obviously grown, Women for Women International UK from a small startup to what it is today. Somebody who has grown your own business. What does growth mean to you as somebody who identifies as a feminist? And I'd be interested to see what words of advice you have for us also at Global Girl.
I mean, so first, I love this topic. First of all, I get excited by making more money. I now in my own business, or like when I was raising more money for vital projects, I totally get excited by it, because there's an energy that says, yes, I want to support this work. And obviously I'm taking as given that the intentions and the vision and mission of of an organization that wants to grow, like say Global Girl Project or me with my business or whatever, are there to create change in the world, right? So this is important to say. And so then to attract others who want to invest in that vision, I think that's exciting. But not at any cost.
No.
It's not like I put a target and this is how much I want to raise, and at any cost, and this is no, and this is the key, right? So I think being excited about making money, I think is also really interesting, kind of links to feminism and power, and actually allowing ourselves like, I want to make money. I want to raise a lot of money for women and girls and whatnot, and feeling that I can do that, right? Really embodying that.
Yeah.
But then being really clear, never forgetting why you're doing it, and if the kind of why you're doing it and the money doesn't allow you to be clear about how you're doing it. If at one point you lose the focus on the how, then I think this was for me always the barometer.
Right.
If I stopped caring more about the how, if I cared more about getting more money and getting to the target than how I was getting there, then I knew that I was being blindsided by greed or ambition or because for me the key is, how am I living my values as I'm doing, as I'm on the journey, much more than ultimately getting to the end goal of growing the organization.
Sorry to interrupt, but I mean that to me then goes back to that practice piece, right?
Exactly.
And defining, you know, being a feminist or a feminist organization as it being in the practice.
Exactly.
Is that if the
Exactly.
practice is to continually question,
Exactly.
to continually evaluate,
Exactly.
and allow others to question,
Exactly.
then I feel like there's less the chance that you then lose track and that you go off, you know, in a different
and then you lose integrity, right? So it's like what was coming to me as you're talking. For me, it's like, you know, how am I feeling? How are my stakeholders feeling? How are the beneficiaries feeling? How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? Is this creating? Then great. Then, you know, then let's take another grant on. But if it comes to a point where you're like, do you know what? This is I've created suddenly, because what often happens, and this happened a little bit in my experience, right? That we grew the organization. We were really successful because we had a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, and we just kind of, we did it. And at one point so then you keep growing and you keep adding more staff and more staff, and you're growing, and it's like, and then suddenly it comes to a point, oh wow, okay, we've got quite a big infrastructure now.
Yeah.
Okay, is this actually what we wanted?
Yeah.
So being just every so often stopping and being very intentional about how you grow and understanding how growth can impact your ability to be nimble, to be, that's the key, and the only way that you can do this is by building in moments where you stop and you look, and where you have critical friends who will tell you, you know what, Jules, I mean, it's amazing, you're in every country around the world now, and this is fantastic, but actually, you've kind of lost a little bit the reason why Global Girl is so precious in the first instance. I mean, I'm making this up, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it is possible, by the way, to become, I would like to find out whether it's possible to become really large and still absolutely hold on to that integrity, and not become one of those large mass bureaucracies. So that would be interesting to find out. Shall we find out, Jules? Let's try.
I absolutely. We're definitely going to find out. That was going to be my invitation to you. Yes, absolutely. I don't question whether it's possible. It is possible. I think it is possible if it is the intention of everybody who is leading the organization. And I don't just mean, when I say lead, I don't mean those at the top, if one had a top, right? If everybody who is leading within, including the girls, has that same intention, I do believe it is possible.
Right.
And we are on the journey to create that possibility. Right. And I think, there's a few things you said there. That the first piece around money is really important. I know personally, my challenge as a charity worker of, there's always this piece around, having money, having resource, and and this idea of needing to struggle as sort of being part of working within this sector. And I think also as somebody who identifies as a woman, there is also this piece around struggle, and to shift that narrative that it's not just okay, it is to be celebrated, to have money, to bring money in, to pay yourself more than a market rate wage, and to make sure that everybody within your ecosystem is in a space of having enough and more than enough, right? So I think that's one piece which Global Girl is moving towards, in trying to do it in a different way. And then I think that other piece around agility, Global Girl Project, one of the things that we hear from our partners all the time is that they love working with us because we are so agile and we're so dynamic. And I never want to lose that.
Exactly.
I never want to lose that, because it allows us to work in the places that we work in so many different parts of the majority world. It allows us to work with so many different types of partners. And it allows us to continually question and evaluate. And so I think that is that piece of being able to grow across a network, around an ecosystem, without creating this heavy, cumbersome bureaucracy that then stops us from being, nimble. I want us to keep working out, keep exercising, keep healthy,
Exactly.
so that, we don't get weighted down by,
Exactly.
all of those more traditional ideas of growth.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought it was really interesting. Mira was saying something which I think is really true. It is true that when you position yourself as, values are more important to me than money or growth, it can come across as not ambitious, right? And so I think this is a really good point, right? So it's not. I think, for us to note, obviously we're not saying we don't want to grow. Yes, we want to grow.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but we want to grow in our way, honoring these very clear points that you said, and really also growing structures, in inverted commas, that, don't follow the norm, that are not hierarchical, that are more flat,
Yeah.
and where we explore what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was a really good point.
Agree. Yeah, I agree. And sort of, and also I think that last piece, which maybe we'll kind of finish up on because we're already 15 minutes over, is you mentioned intention. And that is something, if I I define myself as obviously as a feminist, identify as a woman, one of the things that I use in my work on a daily basis is my intention and my intuition. And so when we are working and we're working towards growth, I want to continually look at what my intention is with that growth, and come back to what was my intention when I started Global Girl. What is the intention of our work? And using my intuition to be able to make those decisions around growth. Does this opportunity really connect back to who we are, why we exist, and what we're doing? And that does come down to, like, it's a feeling.
Totally.
Does this feel right? Right?
It's like, am I excited by this opportunity?
Yeah, and that makes people uncomfortable. Like, some people are like, you're making a decision based on feeling. I'm like, absolutely. It is the one thing I know for sure, right? There's everything else can be sort of masked, but if you really can connect to that, and I think that is, it's not about being a man or a woman or non-binary, trans. It's about that piece of yourself that we all have, that is the part that knows, right?
Absolutely.
And so
Oh my God. I mean, I feel like we're getting to know each other more and more. And I'm like,
yes.
This is it. This is it. Do you know, before it used to be like my head would make a decision and I would sometimes check in with my intuition. Now it's like, what does my intuition tell me?
Yeah.
And then, yes, I will check with my brain, because my brain has some good things to offer every so often.
Yeah.
But I mean, not going against my intuition.
Yeah.
Not anymore, and so it's a feeling. Does it
Yeah.
feel exciting? Am I excited if I think about this?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Am I excited?
Yeah, I love it.
And am I also scared? Those are two things I always ask. And that's what we say to our girls too. Our girls, obviously, they go through our leadership training. They have to create their own events. They eventually have to create their own projects. And the number one thing we always ask them, find the thing that excites you and terrifies you. That's
then
thing.
You're on the right path.
You're on the right path. And so we're going to finish with that. I think what I would say, we are doing these lives for a number of reasons. One is to just, enjoy, speaking to other like-minded people, learning from each other, challenging each other, celebrating International Women's Day, Women's History Month. And also we are fundraising, because guess what? We are growing, right? And we need to grow, and we are going to grow in an intentional, feminist, connected way. And so, please go to our Global Girls Run the World fundraising campaign page. The link has been shared in the chat multiple times by our amazing and dedicated and powerful volunteers, and support an organization that is growing differently. And will create that sort of that goal that I think we both share, of having an organization that is able to do all things in terms of growth, be nimble, be big, make money, and make an enormous difference throughout the world.
Exactly. And I just want to
Yes.
do a shout out to Becky and to Emma, my daughter, who was watching as well. Thank you
Oh,
all.
hi, Emma. Hi. Oh,
Mwah.
yeah.
Bye, Jules.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Britta. It's been amazing. Thank you to everybody who's joined. My partner, I saw you join. She wasn't going to, but she joined. And my cousin and everybody. We had some of our girls join, which is super powerful. I'm so happy that our girls got to see this conversation. And please share far and wide. Please donate. If you can't donate, please share the campaign. And and thank you so much to everybody for joining. Thank you, Britta, for your time and your energy and your ideas. And your support is greatly appreciated.
Yes, to be continued.
Yes, to be
Bye.
continued. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.